Yep.
Okay, it's coming up, everybody. Hang on. Here we go. Are we here?
Yes.
Yes.
Gloria, are you here? Talk to me.
I am finally.
Oh my goodness. I think Janae's frozen. It's
Oh
coming up,
no.
everybody. Hang
Well,
on.
Jenny moving.
Well, while we're waiting for her to jump on board, I'm going to introduce you. This is Gloria Mattioni, and she is our featured author of the month for her book, California Sisters. She's reporting in from California, and I'm Kathy L. Murphy, the Pulpwood Queen, and I am live from the University of Texas Library in Tyler, Texas. So, everybody can, I hope this is, we can hear what's going on now. Can you hear okay, Gloria?
I can hear perfectly.
How about Janine?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Mhm.
but I can't see you guys' faces, which is strange.
I can
Uh,
see Jenny and yours. Yes.
you can?
I
Yeah.
can see Kathy and Gloria.
Yeah.
Well, we can all see some of us, but anyway, we're live on Facebook because the Zoom just was not working today. So we'll just be hoping that everybody can listen and learn to what we're going to be talking about today. But Gloria has a wonderful story, and for those who have not read your book, can you go ahead and share a little synopsis on what the California Sisters is about?
Sure.
Okay.
It basically is the story of two sisters living worlds apart, but remain very close despite the physical distance and also their different personalities. And the sister, who is the narrator of the story, main character, is a mystery writer living in Los Angeles. She's originally from Italy, like her other sister who remain in Italy. And they suddenly get reunited by a tragedy because the older sister suffers a brain hemorrhage and needs help. And Claire, the mystery writer, basically drops everything when she receives this call from Italy, and she jumps on a plane and rush to her sister's side, not knowing what she's going to find because they only told her that there is this injury. So she has no idea if she'll find her sister alive or dead, and what will be the consequences. And so,
Oh, that's got to be a page turner for everybody. I've read the book and I'm excited for you. And as everybody can hear, you have this amazingly beautiful accent. Tell us a little bit about your background, Gloria.
yeah, I'm definitely from Italy. I can't deny that, right? Yeah. And it's so funny because in the first years after moving to California, I was actually, I'm also a journalist, no? So I was doing a bunch of TV interviews and all of that. And so I was studying in UCLA Extension to have accent correction. And
Right.
when I was studying, basically everybody, including my teachers, were like, "Are you crazy? No, no, go away. No, we want you with that accent."
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
I,
so I
I think it's
stopped
fantastic.
muttering about it, and they said I better focus on other things, you know. So I grew up. So my background is I grew up in Milan, and so big city in North Italy, and I became a journalist at a very, very young age. Like since I was 18, basically, I've been supporting
Really? How did that come about?
writing. Well, that happened kind of by chance because I wanted to become a movie director, and I was in college for that. No, but what happened was that I started to, I don't know why I knew English better than most people in Italy, even when I was in high school. So I had started to translate interviews with musicians, with jazz musicians coming from
Oh,
jazz events, jazz festivals, and all of that for a magazine, for a music magazine, basically a fanzine. And so I was having a ball, because I was meeting all these people, going to the festivals for free, and interviewing people that I loved and I had a lot of admiration for, and writing for this magazine. And then what happened was that meanwhile, I was also, I always wanted to make my own money since I was basically 13 years old, So I was supporting also myself, working in a photo shop, helping the counter and all of that. And all of a sudden, I read an ad on Corriere della Sera, which was the main newspaper in Italy. And they were very mysterious ad, and they were saying that they were looking for young, aspiring writers for a new magazine to be launched. And they were also looking for models, and they had this kind of thing in mind to have a magazine different from the other magazine, with models coming from real people, coming from the street and all of that. And I decided to apply, just sending in, never believing something from there was going to happen. And instead, then I got a call, and all of a sudden they were calling me from Condé Nast Italia, from Vogue.
Wow, that's big time.
Because they were launching Glamour Italia, the version of Glamour, the Italian edition, basically, And so they wanted to put together stuff and all of that. And so they asked me to go in for an interview. And that was totally crazy because I was basically very much a hippie girl, So I went in with all my, beads and jeans broken and all of that. But for some weird reason, they loved me. And so that's how we started. Yeah.
And how did you go from that to a book, deciding to write a
I
book?
started actually to write books in that period, meaning when I was a journalist, but after a while, I decided that to be an editor in the staff was not for me. I wanted to be in the field and I wanted to travel. So I wanted to go after. I was interested basically in meeting the people that I like and I admire, and visiting the places that I long to visit. And so I decided to go freelancing. And I found out that I could support myself if I dare to produce my stories. So I started to travel, taking also picture. Jeannie, I know you're a fantastic photographer. I really admire your photos. They're really, really very good. I love them. They make me dream every time I see them. And so I decided, okay, if I produce my thing, I'm good at that, organizing my trips. And I started to go around the world. And I started to write books, collecting my experience. So the first book that I published in the United States when I decided to move here in 2005 for Seal Press was this book called Reckless, The Outstanding Lives of 9 Kick-Ass Women. And basically it was a collection of these stories of these women that I follow. They were all American women.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, women in America, let's say.
Yes,
not
yes.
one was a German scientist. So over the years, over a couple of years, I traveled, and was not an interview. I was spending a period of times with them, at least 1 week or something, to get to know them really well. And so I started to publish those kind of books for the moment. And
now, are those books still in print?
That's the funny thing. The Seal Press got sold first to Penguin and then to Hachette just the year after I published my book. And the year after I published my book was actually the year when my own sister got sick. So I had to stay in Italy. I couldn't come back for the book tour that they had all organized. And because of that, since they were moving all their inventory, they had to cut it in half. So they had to decide which books to take or not. So they didn't take my book because I couldn't promote it, basically, And so the book is still there. It's still on Amazon, but you can buy only used copies from other vendors.
I want to read it because there's nothing I love more than travel and adventure. And, all my life, I'm vicariously living my dream through talking to all of you. And I can't think of anybody better than Janice Sacken to be here because of her books, too. I was just telling her she's got 3 that are in this little trilogy, and they're all going to be on the 2024 list. I'm putting them all together because I feel like if you're going to read one, you should read them all, and they may not read, one a year, but hey, they're going to have reading material. And so we can travel and learn and grow, and knowledge is power. And I think women are traveling more than ever. Are you traveling a lot right now, Gloria?
I am. I mean, when finally COVID,
yeah.
restrictions started to be a little looser, I couldn't wait to go back traveling, really, because it's crazy. Like, I can't stay still for a long time, And of course, I travel a lot also here, I have a motorhome. So I jump in my motorhome and I go.
Really? And you drive it?
Yes.
Oh, that's so neat. I had one until the ice storm damaged it. But anyway.
That's the problem. It needs a lot of maintenance and all of that. But I love it because the freedom to jump in and not having to book anything, and you just go and then, you decide where you want to stop.
Have you flown anywhere lately? Have you, Jenny, have you flown anywhere?
Oh, sorry, Jenny, go ahead.
Either one.
A couple months ago, I flew to Scotland and it was fine.
Wow.
It was good.
Well, my best friend takes Americans to Italy and Greece and beyond, and she was backed up for quite some time. So she normally just takes 2 trips a year. She was taking 3 and 4 to kind of get everybody back and it's a lot of paperwork, let me tell you. She has to jump through a lot of hoops now with vaccines and all the paperwork and everything, but it's so worth it because Italy is one of my favorite places in the world that I've been. I've been there 3 times. 3. Yeah. I want to go back. I haven't seen it all. So there's lots of places I want to go. So hopefully I'll get to in the future. So Janine, you've joined the conversation. Do you have any questions for Gloria about her book?
I do. I have not read the book yet, Gloria. However, you and I had a little exchange on Facebook maybe a year ago about a recipe that you had developed. And I made it, and my husband fell in love with you.
What was it?
It was fish. It was a white fish. And Gloria specified that it had to be bottled or jarred tomato sauce, but with no sugar in it. So it had to be from Italy. And then there were capers and black olives, I think. And
merluzzo alla siciliana, that is cod. You can use every white fish, but let's say if you have cod, it's better. And it's so easy, right? I mean, it
was so
very little time. The only problem is like with everything, like even with pizza, I was going crazy the first years in America because I was like, why it doesn't taste like I do it in Italy? I do the same thing.
Sugar and everything.
Sugar everywhere, in every can, in everything. So I resorted to do my own sauce, but then now finally, now you can find really good sauce and tomato sauce, tomato cans. I mean, the taste change, which is great.
It tastes so much fresher without the sugar. However, that leads me to my question, and that is, do you have food in your book or references to food? Or
there are references to food. Yeah, I didn't go into the real recipe in the book. Right. That I thought about actually doing a separate thing that I can put on my website, to download some of the recipes I'm talking about. because food is a really great passion for both sisters. So they in the book, also in the memories, when Claire talks about remembers when she was visiting her sister when she was healthy, and all of that, and what they were doing and where they were going to eat and all these things. So there are a lot of reference to food, a lot of reference to particular dishes. And the book is set in North Italy, but not in Milan, but in Bergamo, where the older sister, the one who gets sick, Ondina, is her name, decided to go living when she fell in love with a guy from Bergamo. In
Now,
Bergamo,
what's that near? What's that a city that I might know? What's it near?
you know very well Bergamo because Adriana Trignani is from there. Adriana Trignani.
Oh, yes. And you got
we met when
Yeah.
we met last year, at the girlfriend weekend, and in fact she was like, "Don't tell me your book is set in Bergamo," yeah.
She's coming back this year. She just let me know. She's coming back
that.
for girlfriend weekend. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So
it's very close to Milano. I mean, it's only like about not even 60 miles, 60 kilometers. So it would be like 40 miles from
yeah.
Milan north, but it's a completely different world because it's an incredible, beautiful, middle-aged city, completely surrounded by walls. There was even, those bridges, right? And so it's super pretty. It's on top with these cobblestone little not even streets, more like alleys and things.
Yes.
And
Like
it's
Venice has a lot of
really beautiful. In fact, when my own sister decided, because the inspiration, of course, is from real events, this book. When my sister decided to go live in there, I saw she was crazy because I was like, you will never resist there. You're used to a big city, and that's it. Oh, okay, it's not a small place for American standards, not a town. It's a city of 100,000 people, so not so small. But compared to Milan, that is 4 million people, is small, no? So, but it's so beautiful. And the gastronomy there is very peculiar.
Oh, I can imagine.
So there are references to this kind of plates, this kind of dishes, this kind of recipes when Ondina tries to convince Claire to eat cook butter, right? Like in some kind of pasta and stuff like that. And since Claire has become very much like a health nut since she lives in America to avoid, the bad stuff, she's kind of trying to resist. And she's like, no, believe me, you have to try. And you won't regret
It's
it.
easy in California, but it's not so easy here in Texas
I
because
know.
everybody, they
I know
just,
that.
they just, they just fry everything. And so I don't do that. So I have to be very creative on my cooking.
I
But I
know.
love homemade pasta. That's the only kind I'll eat. And I know how to make it because we took a class. We're there. It's not hard. Everybody goes, "Oh, it must be so hard to make pasta." And all. No,
It's so
I just
simple.
fell into it like
Huh.
it was so easy.
It's so simple. Yeah. And the simplest you go, the better it tastes. Because I'm
I think so.
like, here I'm usually never going to Italian restaurants because the problem is they adapt the taste, to American standard. So they add on ingredients. So
It's just, I went to an Italian place in Shreveport and I go, "What is this?" I thought it was lasagna. It was, they say our secret sauce has sugar in it. I go, I couldn't eat it. It was awful. It was like, savory foods should not be sweet like that,
no. Yeah.
I
No,
mean,
but I mean, exactly. The difference is that in my opinion, if you really go with Italian recipes, there are only so few ingredients, really few ingredients, and it tastes good.
during COVID, Adriana, I didn't have any electricity. I was telling Janine, I had nothing, but I got a huge basket that came to my house from Adriana from her nanny, and it was homemade pastas and sauce.
Mm.
And she saved me, and I learned how to do it in electric skillet with a power thing. And I could make
Exactly.
enough and keep it outside to keep it cold because my refrigerator didn't work.
Right.
And then that's what Italian food's what got me through COVID.
That's good. Yeah.
And
Very good.
it was all delicious. And it
Yeah.
was all different kinds of pastas. It was all homemade. I go, that's the best gift I think I ever got at the best time because I couldn't get out of my driveway. It was all ice. We were iced in. So, did you have a good time talking to her at Girlfriend Weekend? That's our book club
Very much.
convention.
Yes, very much. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then we talk again because sometimes I see her things, on her website or on her Facebook. And I was telling because she was talking about, Italian Americans heritage and all of that. And I was telling this story that actually is in my next book. And that in Los Angeles in the 20s,
Oh,
since
have
the
you started
beginning.
already working on it?
Yes, yes, I'm
Okay.
already working on that. And that's not this is a side story, no, but there
Right.
is this story because I did a bunch of research on that. That basically in Los Angeles at the beginning of the century and up to the 1920s,
Mhm.
Italians were considered basically like very badly. They call them Degos, no,
Like
from
the
the day
Chinese,
goes.
like the Asians. Yeah,
Right.
because I've read all the books by Lisa C's coming, and she lives in California, and she wrote about the Chinese experience with
Yeah,
her family's
exactly.
generations.
Exactly. In fact, in Los Angeles, Little Italy was basically in Chinatown, no?
Yeah.
And exactly for that reason, because both Chinese people and Mexican people were actually siding with Italians because they were so emarginated, no? And
Hmm.
there were crazy story, like when they were living downtown, they couldn't leave that place, like a radius of 5 miles, without permission.
Oh,
Not even to visit relatives out of there, no? So there are crazy stories of people, that they're like, I couldn't visit my mom.
those are the stories that people need to know because
Yeah.
American history has always been taught by the victors.
Right,
The
exactly.
history needs to be told from all perspectives in life, whether you come from Italy or China or Mexico, or whether you were a native indigenous,
Absolutely.
Californian
Yeah.
before everybody came in. We need to know those stories because our history is like the news. It's been misconstrued.
Yeah.
And that's why I look for books like you guys, is I want to know the story from a wider lens than my own little place in the world. That's why I like to go. I like you guys. I like to go. So do we have a title for this next book?
It's a working title so far. It's called Strawberry Girl.
Oh, strawberry. I like that. Strawberry
Yeah,
Girl. That's
it's a
cute.
working title because it would be mainly a thriller or at least a mystery detective story. So yeah, because
Oh, very good. How far along are you in your book?
oh, not much. Like,
Okay.
I wrote 6 chapters only, but it has been very interesting because I'm what I call more than I hate the definition like pantser and plotter. I
Yeah.
like more to say, architect and gardener. Like, so I'm
Ah,
definitely a gardener, meaning somebody
Gardner. I like that.
plants the
Yeah.
seeds, right? And then I start writing. And sure, I have a very loose outline in mind, but actually, as soon as I start writing, and now I'm at that point, everything changed. And so then the story that wants to be told comes alive, right? And so
Right.
what I use is a totally different process. So I don't outline, like typing on my computer and all of that. I have a huge cork board. And what I do is I write scenes when they come to my
Oh,
mind. And then I pin them, but then I move them around because maybe the scene is very good, but I don't know where it'll go really, yet. Or maybe I think, yes, he's in the second chapter, and then maybe it goes to the 16th chapters when the story becomes what needs to be, So yeah, so I am not a very fast writer because I can't do what almost every writing class tells you to do. So I don't throw down the first draft, not thinking about, not trying to make it satisfying. I have to be satisfied because this is my passion. So I'm like, when I'm writing, at the end of the day, I need to be happy with what I wrote, at least some,
absolutely. And there is no right or wrong to any of the arts, whether you're songwriting, whether you're, a musician, whether you're an actor, whether you're a filmmaker. Everybody has their own process. And I just hate it when they try to put us all in a box. This is how you write a book. This is how, where you're supposed to be. You're supposed to have a book come out every year. I broke all those rules. I
I do
just
the
feel like
same.
if it's ready, it's ready, right?
Yep.
I completely relate to that because I can't follow that. It will make me so unhappy. If I have to do that, I'm like, that at that point I could stay in a corporate job, it's ridiculous. And plus it
Right.
doesn't make me happy. So like if I cannot be happy, yeah, sure, because and plus I don't think it's true when they tell you you're gonna lose your readership if you don't produce one book every year. I didn't lose anything, I mean,
I don't think those rules hold water anymore because right now, everything's up in the air. I mean, we don't even know what's happening to publishing. It's all going to be one big conglomerate here pretty soon. Simon and Schuster just bought out She Writes Press. Somebody just bought out Simon and Schuster. Penguin Putnam is now self-publishing books for people. I mean, it's getting really crazy.
yeah,
I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know this, that if you've got a good story and we can get it in the hands of good readers, we're going to be entertained. And that's my sole purpose in my life is to take people around the world reading great books, no matter where you come from. And I think that, during COVID, I watch a lot of movies, and nothing on Netflix right now or even Amazon is even from the United States. I watched a movie from Argentina last
yeah.
night about a Mexican family in Argentina. It was wonderful. But, you might think about, you said did you go to film school, Gloria?
I mix up things, meaning I went to DAMS in Bologna, that is basically a university about art, music, and show business. And I graduate in movie history because
Oh,
I couldn't become a movie director because I had a baby when I was
wow.
very, very young. And
Mhm.
so at that time in Italy, to go to movie school, you had to be in Rome. But
Right.
family was in Milan, and I was, my baby was in Milan, so I had no intention, of messing up with that. And so instead, I went to Bologna to this school, and I'm so grateful I did because I had the best time, and it gave me a lot. While I was a journalist, because I could do that, I could just take a train, and it was only 2 hours, and just go for the classes I needed. Of course, I was studying a lot on my own and just going for the tests, and so very much, different experience than college, like all my classmates in high school did, right?
Well, even that's changing because the next semester, one of the classes I'm taking is going to be online.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
I know.
because people are working and it's hard to find,
Yeah.
they want things at night or at their own leisure so they can take these classes. So, I've taken an online course before. I don't really like them. I like to interact with people. I'm a people person,
Yeah.
but I love the professor, and I know we'll have a good time. And I'm going to be on campus anyway because I'm a graduate assistant. I'm helping another professor. So, and it's been just pure joy coming back to school. It's hard work, but if you've been locked up in your house for, too many years, it's you start to go a little cabin crazy. And I was, and I'm glad to be back out. So I'm really excited for your book. I hope you get to go lots of places. I love that you put out there that you'll visit book clubs via Zoom.
Yeah.
It's the reason why I started out doing my convention live, but by May 1st, I only had 15 people signed up with a 600 seat convention center. I had to let it go. And so when I made it Zoom, all the authors go, well, I can come if you're going to make it Zoom. So, Suzanne Kamada is coming from Japan. Carolyn Leavitt's coming from New York. I got a lot of authors coming from New York. Deborah Rodriguez is coming from Mexico. I mean, people can come from literally anywhere if you do it Zoom. You might have to do it in the middle of the night, but it's just an hour of your time. But
only a few days, yeah.
Yeah, but we've got Jamie Ford and Lisa C and Karen Abbott, and oh my gosh, I can't even believe who all is coming this year. Ann Hood's coming back. It's going to be great. So I hope everybody comes back. I hope to continue it. But if we don't get, if the numbers keep coming down, I don't know if I'll make it to my 25th year because I work on it all year and you want to have tons of people. Now, the good thing about it is I record that and then I can eventually put it on YouTube. But it's, I love the live events. I just love to go, but it's been hard for me to travel with school. So, you do what you can do. So, well, hopefully, Janine, do you have anything you want to say or comment about?
Another question for Gloria.
Sure.
You were talking about how the subject of California Sisters is from your own life and your experience with your sister. Could you talk about how much of yourself and your sister you actually put in the books?
Yeah, because
I want to know how she is.
Yeah, the problem is this is very much inspired to the story of my sister. And the problem is that after my sister passed and I came back to America, because I did spend actually almost 3 years in Italy assisting her and trying everything possible to hoping to get her back to health. Maybe not 100%, but what I thought was acceptable, for having a decent life. And when I came back, I was totally broken, but totally in a way that if you were asking me about my sister, my throat would close up completely. And I couldn't talk about it, because I was breaking down and it was terrible. So huge trauma. And I tried different kind of therapies and nothing worked. And guess what worked? Writing about it, So actually, the best review that I had from a reader on Amazon was somebody who said this book is better than therapy because she went through losing her mom. And she said that for years she couldn't get out of her grief, and she couldn't, find a way to undo this ball, cotton inside there that basically was occupying all the space and making her feel miserably. And then when she wrote the book, she finally felt a connection, and she was very nice. She wrote me also personally, and that's something that I'm like, even if I wrote a book only for that letter, I would be happy, and satisfied. But definitely works also like self-therapy because it has been very hard to write about it. It took me 9 years because many times I abandoned the project. I started and then I was arriving at the point that I was breaking down and I was like, no, I can't, relieving the pain and all of that makes me crazy. But then instead, at some point, COVID helped because I was always trying to find an excuse, basically, So meanwhile, I was traveling, doing my journalism and all of that. And so I was always gone. And I was like, I have no time. I have no time to get back. Because when I write a book, I really need to plunge in. I can't jump from one thing to the other continuously. So it was very hard to write for a newspaper and meanwhile to write a book, because you have to switch completely, from one writing style to the other. But of course was also a lot of excuses, right? So when finally COVID happened and I couldn't go out so much for interviews, I couldn't go photographing houses. I really love to work in design and architecture and also producing stories with a photographer. I couldn't do that because of course nobody wanted you to photograph their houses and during COVID. And so I was like, now or never. And so finally, I did sit down and then I did it, I completely rewrote a bunch of stuff. And then I arrived to a first draft that was convincing me to be good. And I sent it out to an editor, a stellar editor, very good. At that time was something like 100,000 words. And I worked with him and we got it down to 76,000. But then there was other things that came up, that I wanted to add. But at that time, I felt so liberated when I finished the book because it was cathartic, it was even because, well, I don't want to give away the ending, but, basically the two sisters trade values during their journey. So while the mystery writer is all about freedom, she left behind her family, her country, everything just to look for adventure and to feel free. And then this call happened and she is brought back to face all the family ties and all of that beside helping her sister. Her sister is all about love and she's a people person, while the other one is kind of a loner. She's a writer, but she doesn't want to have ties with anybody. She's living with this boyfriend, roommate, whatever, meaning friend with benefit, that she can't call her boyfriend, of course, but they have a good relationship, but she needs to feel free. And at the end of the story, instead, there will be this complete change of scenery, meaning that the sister who is ill chooses freedom. And Claire, instead, she realized at the end of the day, the only thing that counts is love.
That's right.
It has been really cathartic because I realized that I didn't know, but when I wrote, I realized that has been my experience. And so, yeah, definitely. So my sister was a really incredible person, and she was a great traveler. She traveled all around the world. That helped me a lot because she wrote a bunch of travel diaries, scrapbooks. She was doing these magnificent, travel logs. Glowing, tickets of shows and tickets of boat trips or around the world and what she was feeling and all of that. So I use all these materials, writing and all of that to give a voice to the ill sister, because the ill sister loses completely her ability to speak together with many other abilities. And how can you make, that was one of the big difficulties, how can you make a person who doesn't speak in a book, no? So you have to find the right language and all of that. So it's in two voices, so it is a double point of view. But of course, the mystery writer is the main narrator of the story, and there are some chapters in Ondina's voice, no? And that was the most difficult things to write, because of course you are always thinking, oh my gosh, is this really her voice, or I'm, putting my own thoughts in there? But, trying and trying and trying, at some point, you hear it, you hear the voice, you know? And so I woke up one day after a dream and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to write this immediately. And it was so good because then I realized that I could put in there also all my fears. Like when my sister was sick, she couldn't speak, right? But sometimes I could see she hated me because I was pushing her too hard, right? And of course, I thought it was for her good, but imagine being in those conditions and somebody keeps bothering you, right? And wants you to get better and wants you to do the exercise and wants you to do this and this and that and make you tired. And I knew that sometimes she didn't believe it. And so she was like, she wanted to be left in peace. But at the time, I couldn't admit it to myself because I was so focused on getting her better that I had to push away all this. But then when I wrote the book, I could finally let all of this come out. So that's what I'm saying. It also
Great.
therapy because I cried so hard, you know. But in the end, it has been really good. And now I can talk about it.
It's
Now I
great.
can remember the good memories. And I stopped dreaming for a long period. I only dreamt about my sister only when she was sick.
Uh-huh.
And now I started to dream about her. Since the book came out last year, I dream about her traveling. Dream about her in places where she has been happy or new places where I think she would like to go and things like that, you know? Yeah. So it has
That's
been liberating, definitely.
That's why we read. It gives us so much insight and also connections to other people. That somebody's reading that book right now that's going, oh my gosh, this was the book for me. And, that's why I pick the books that I pick. I want people to understand that these are stories that, you know, are not necessarily from our own little worlds, but we all want the same basic needs. We want to be loved. We want our basic needs to be met: food, shelter, water, safe. We want to be safe. And in this world that full of troubling times, it's my escapism. Is reading escapism for you too?
Oh, completely. Like I
Yeah.
read at night,
Mhm.
so that's my safe time, right? And I read fiction exactly because it makes me escape.
Right.
Non-fiction is for daytime. You know, that's different.
They actually, since I've come back to school, they started a book club here and they just had the first meeting and the second one's this week. And they're reading Murder at the Book Club. Is that not the best title?
Oh, wow. I want to read
Murder
that.
at the Book Club. So I'm excited to discuss
Who's
it
the
this,
author?
yeah, it'll be this Thursday. So, and it's all, people from all walks of life. It'll be a lot of fun. I mean, I've known my Pulpwood Queens forever. So it's nice to see some new voices in the mix, and we've got a lot of new authors coming in the mix too. I picked over 50 books this year.
Wow.
And yeah, well, there's 12 books of the year, 12 bonus books, 12 international books of the year, and then all the bonus books of the year. Because if I don't read one book a month, I read a lot. So
Yeah.
I want to keep the people that are reading well manned with a stack of books. So I'm going to be announcing them soon. Oh, and by the way, you guys can vote. Your
Yeah.
members, you can vote for the books of the year. You vote, you go online, look at all the books, and you pick one book of the month, one international book of the month, and one bonus book of the month. And you can vote for yourself. It's just like president. You can vote for yourself, and I hope you all do. But we need votes. So get everybody voting. Say, vote for me, vote for me. If you haven't voted, get out there and let everybody know. And then at the first of the year, I'll be making the announcement of the new books. And then I'll also be announcing, since we're doing it Zoom online, who is winning the books of the year. And all 2023 and 2024 authors will be featured if they come. So I'm trying to encourage everybody to come. It's Zoom. You can do it from your home. And I'm going to be doing it here from the University of Texas. So All aboard, everybody. Any last words you want to share with anybody, Gloria, about your book?
Just maybe what we were saying about the book clubs, I think, yeah, my best experience with this book, since it has been a while since I had published my previous book, my previous book,
Right.
2014, was that now, as much as I like much better live events, book club Zoom meetings allowed me to meet so many other readers, no? And that's something
It's
that I
true.
never experienced with my previous books. And to me, that's the reward for an author, to really meet
Well,
your reader.
yeah. And when you have like Suzanne comes on board almost every month from Japan, I mean, that's never happened. And I get authors from all over the world who watch on I think 70% of the people who watch on my channel are in India.
Yeah,
India.
it's good.
And then I think it's the United States. And then third, the biggest country is UK.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me how I'm known. I went to a Diwali event here on campus, and I had a guy come up from Pakistan and sit down next to me, and he goes, "Oh, can I get my picture with you? You're a celebrity." And my friend that was with me, she goes, "Are you a celebrity?" And I go, "I don't think so." Anyway, he was so excited to meet me, and I thought, how did he hear about me? I have no idea, but it's always amazing. But you have to put yourself out there, and you have to go to all the book stores and say, "I'll be happy to do a book talk, book signing, book club," and
Yeah.
Angie Gatani's out there now in California, and her and her son are out there. He got a big job out in. I've tried to connect her with Amy Wallen, who's coming to Girlfriend Weekend. She's in California, but it's a wonderful way to network with other authors when you meet them.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've
So
been doing events with other authors. Yeah, a lot.
So vote for, all you have to do is send me an email and pick 3 books and just send me those. And I'm going to tally them up and announce December 1st. And then I'll be announcing all the books of the year. Oh, they're so good this year. They are so good. Every year I say, this is the best list I've ever done. No, I've really got some big players on there this year. And, we have Barbara Kingsolver on there this year. And oh my gosh, her book is doing wonderful. And, I just I really want to help new authors and stuff. So we've got a lot of newbies coming on board. So you guys,
one question. You were saying in one of your posts, you were saying that maybe next year, if everything goes well, you will do a live event in East Texas.
If I can get people to sign up.
Okay.
That's the problem. There may not be one. If I can't get enough people to come on board, I can't afford to rent a convention center.
Of course.
So, and then all the authors tell me it's so much easier to come via Zoom.
I know.
And I said, yeah, but you haven't come to our hair bowl. You haven't come to our Pulpwood Queen awards ceremony or author meet and greet. And this year's theme, it's up on the website on the page, is Barbie Land. You're to come as your favorite book club Barbie, author Barbie, publisher Barbie and Ken, whatever. We're going to have a whole Barbie theme so people can play dress up even if we're doing Zoom. So you guys, I'll be sending more out, but right now I've got to go to another event, and I just can't thank you enough for bearing with me on this Zoom call, but I can download it, and hopefully I'll be able to record it tomorrow on the Pulpwood Queen channel. So fingers crossed on this, everybody. And Janine, just keep in touch, and here we go all together. Okay.
All right.
Okay. I love to both of you, and have a very, very happy holiday and New Year. And hopefully we'll see you all at Girlfriend Weekend 2024. Okay.
Definitely. I'm already signed up.
I know you are. Okay. Bye-bye, Gloria. Thank you.
Bye, Gloria.
Bye, Jeannie.
Bye, Jeannie. Bye-bye.
Bye, Kathy.